Welcome. We are discussing about various CPU scheduling algorithms. So the topic we'll be discussing in today's session is multi-level queue scheduling algorithm. Okay. So what is multi-level queue scheduling algorithm? In a multi-level queue scheduling algorithm, the ready queue will be splitted into multiple queues. The ready queue will be splitted into multiple queues and the process will be allocated to different queues and the process will be allocated to different queues based on the memory size required by the process priority level or by the process type. Okay, so this is how basically a multi-level queue scheduling algorithm works. So here first the ready queue, there will not be one ready queue. The ready queue will be splitted into multiple queues. The ready queue will be splitted into multiple queues and the process or the jobs will be allocated to different queues and the process or the jobs will be allocated to different queues by the operating system depending on the memory size required by the process or by the priority level of the process or by the process type. Okay, so what is process type? Process type, in the sense, process can be categorized into several types. Like, you may call a process as a system process, okay, which executes operating system related functionality, okay, or a process can be called as a user process if it is executed by a user, okay, or you can call a process as an interactive process, or a process can be called as a batch process. Like that, process can be categorized into different types, but broadly process can be categorized into two types. The first one is interactive process. The first one is interactive process, and the next one is batch process. Okay, process can be broadly classified as two categories. These are interactive process and batch process. Okay, so what is an interactive process? So interactive process or typically the process which are created by the users, and and also in between the users will interact with the process. Okay, so these process, the response time of these process should be very low, in the sense it should respond quickly. That is, once you start the process, it should respond quickly, because it may take some user input, and according to the user input, the how the process will behave, everything may depends on the frequent inputs that it is receiving from the user. So its response time should be typically very low. It should respond very fastly. That is what mean by response time should be low. Okay, whereas for the batch process are also user process, but here the user submits the job. Here the user submits the job or the process, and then he will go and it does not requires any user interaction, and this job should be completed maybe within an hour or within 2 hours or within 10 hours or whatever it may be. After that time, the user will come and check the result. Okay, but it does not need any interaction in between. So these process does not require uh, a very low response time. That is, it can respond slowly, but the interactive process should respond fastly, whereas the batch process should respond slowly. So this is one way of dividing the process. Okay, so what operating system can do, whenever an interactive process comes, it may put it in one queue, and whenever a batch process comes, it may put it in some other queue. Okay, so uh, this is what how it works. Okay, so basically in a multi-level queue scheduling algorithm, what happens in the sense, the in a multi-level queue scheduling algorithm, the ready queue will be partitioned into separate queues. Okay, like typically you can say that, so this ready and whenever a new process comes, it will be assigned to any one of the queue depending on the memory required by the process, depending on the process priority number, or depending on the type of the process. Okay, so generally there are two types of process available. One is called as foreground process, the other one is called as background process. The foreground process is otherwise called as interactive process, and background process is also called as batch process. Okay, so the response time of the foreground process should be low, that is it should respond quickly, whereas the response time of the background process need not be low, it can respond slowly also, it is acceptable. Okay, and the processes are permanently allocated to one of the queues. Permanently in the sense, whenever a process of a particular type comes, it will be always going to that queue. Okay, for example, if there are two queues, Q0 and Q1, whenever an interactive foreground process comes, it will go into Q0. And whenever a batch process or a background process comes, it will always go into Q1. Okay, so the operating system divides the queue into multiple queues, and it assigns and it permanently assigns process of a particular type to a particular queue. Okay, so okay, and further, these different queues may follow different scheduling algorithms. These different queues may follow different scheduling algorithms. It is not that all these queues should follow the same scheduling algorithms. No. Okay, so let us assume there are three queues, Q0, Q1, and Q2. The ready queue is split into three queues. The first queue is Q0, the next one is Q1, the third one is Q2. Okay, now all these queues may follow different scheduling algorithms. Okay, so Q0 may follow round robin scheduling algorithm. Okay, Q0 may follow round robin scheduling algorithm. Q1 may follow shortest job first scheduling algorithm. Okay, and Q2 may follow FCFS scheduling algorithms. Okay, so different queue may follow a different scheduling algorithm. Okay? And also there will be some priority between the queues, and also there will be some priority between the queues. Say for example, we may say that Q1 has the highest priority, Q1 has the highest priority, sorry, Q0 has the highest priority, and Q2 has the lowest priority. Okay, so you may say that Q0 has the highest priority, and the next highest priority goes to Q1, and Q2 has the lowest priority. Okay, so in this case, how the operating system uh, uh, will 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 assign the process from each of the queues to the CPU, how it will done. So there are different ways of doing that. Okay, so basically there are two ways of doing this. The first method, so we'll discuss both the methods. So based on the first method, how it works in the sense, okay, basically what we are discussing in the sense, these different queues need not follow, all the queues need not follow same scheduling algorithms. Different queues may follow different scheduling algorithms, and there will be priority among the queues also. Okay, so how the jobs from different queues will be allocated to the CPU, how operating system will do that. There are different ways of doing that. The first method is the jobs in the Q1 will be executed only if Q0 is empty. Okay, that is Q0 will be given the highest priority. So first operating system will finish off all the jobs in Q0 by following RR scheduling, round robin scheduling algorithm. Only when Q0 is empty, the operating system will start executing the jobs in Q1. Okay. Similarly, the jobs in Q2 will be executed only if there are no jobs in Q0 and in Q1. Okay. Jobs in Q2 will be executed only if there are no jobs in uh, Q0 and Q1. Okay, right? So this is one way of scheduling. Another way of scheduling is another way of scheduling is for simplicity. Let us assume there are only two queues, Q0 and Q1. Okay. The second type of scheduling, how it works in the sense, operating system may allocate 80% of the time for Q0. Okay, that is the highest priority queue will be given 80% of the time, and remaining 20% of the CPU time may be given to Q1. Okay, now how it works in the sense, so let us assume one time unit is 100 milliseconds. For simplicity, let us assume one time unit is 100 milliseconds. So 80 millisecond will be given for Q0. Okay, so Q0 follows round robin scheduling algorithm. So here if there are n processes, then for each of these n process, then the round robin will give Q amount of time, Q milliseconds. Say this Q is 3 milliseconds, then each process will get 3 millisecond, 3 millisecond, 3 millisecond. Like that, how much time totally it will get 80 milliseconds. Once that 80 millisecond is over, the operating system then it will start picking up jobs from Q1. Okay, it will take the first job from Q1 and it will give to the CPU. Okay, and that will be executed. It is FCFS, right? So that will execute how long it needs. So basically it has only 20 milliseconds. So if it has completed within 5 millisecond, after for if it executes for 5 millisecond and if it finishes, then the operating system will take the next job and it will give. That may execute for another 15 millisecond. So it's 20 millisecond is over. Again operating system will switch back to Q naught and it will start taking jobs from Q naught and assigning to the CPU. So these are the different ways in which the processes can be assigned to the CPU. Okay, so 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 this is how basically multi-level queue scheduling algorithm works. Okay, so the processor will be permanently assigned to a given queue, and each queue will have its own scheduling algorithm. It is not that all queues should follow the same scheduling algorithm. Okay, maybe the foreground process may follow round robin scheduling algorithm. That is, whichever is a foreground process in the sense the process which will be kept in queue naught. Okay, and the background process which is kept in Q1, these may follow FCFS scheduling algorithm. Okay, and also there will be the scheduling must also be done between the queues. Okay, so scheduling between the queues can be of two types. Either you can follow fixed priority scheduling, or you may time slice. Okay, fixed priority in the sense whatever we have discussed just before. That is the jobs in the Q1 will be executed only if Q naught is empty. Only if Q naught is empty, the job in the Q1 will be executed. Okay, uh, whereas time slice in the sense the operating system will allocate 80% of the time for Q naught. Okay, then remaining 20% it may allocate for Q1. Okay, so let us discuss this with an example. Let us assume the ready queue is split into five queues. Let us assume the ready queue is partitioned into 5 different queues. So these are the different queues. Okay, we can number it from Q0 to Q4. Okay, Q0 for system process, Q1 for interactive process, Q2 for interactive editing process, Q3 for batch process, and Q4 for the student process. And these are the priority of these process. Q0 has the highest priority and Q4 has the least priority. Okay, so what happens here? The job in the student process will execute. The job in the student processes will execute only if there are no process or no jobs in system process system. I mean Q naught, which is used to hold system process, Q1, Q2, and Q3. Okay, only if there are no jobs in the queue corresponding to system process, interactive editing process, and batch process, then only the jobs in the student process will execute. Similarly, the job in the batch process will execute only if there are no jobs in system process queue, interactive process queue, or interactive editing process queue. Similarly, the jobs in the interactive editing process queue will execute only if there are no jobs in interactive process queue or in system process queue. Okay. Similarly, the job in the interactive process queues will be executed only if there are no jobs in system process queue. Okay. So this is the case if you follow this fixed priority scheduling. Okay, this is the case if you follow the fixed priority scheduling. Okay, because we are fixing the priority, and only if the higher priority queues are empty, then only the jobs or the process in the lower priority queue will be executed. Okay, otherwise there is another option that we can divide some. The operating system may allocate different percentage for different queues. How much percentage of time higher priorities queue should use, and how much percentage of time the lower priority queues should use. Okay, so this is how multi-level queue scheduling algorithm works. The advantage of this algorithm is it has low scheduling overhead. The advantage is it has low scheduling overhead. Okay, so it means there is low scheduling overhead for the operating system. Okay, because what the operating system is doing, the operating system whenever a new process comes, the operating system checks what type of process it is. If it is a system process, it will be moved into system process queue, the queue corresponding to the system process. If it is an interactive process, the job will be moved to the queue corresponding to the interactive process queue, so on and so forth. That is, the operating system will first check what type of process it is. It identifies the type of process and it moves to the appropriate queue. Okay, that's it. That's the core job of the operating system. So scheduling is quite easy. So we say the advantage of this particular algorithm is it has low scheduling overhead. And what is its disadvantage? The disadvantage of this algorithm is it is less flexible. It is less flexible. It is not flexible. Not flexible in the sense what? Where it is not flexible? So it is not flexible in the sense you cannot move the process from one queue to another queue. You cannot move the process from one queue to the another queue. Okay. For example, if you want to move a process from higher priority to lower priority, that is not possible. Or if you want to move a process from lower priority to higher priority, that is also not possible. So the disadvantage, it is less flexible. As it is less flexible, it may lead to a problem called starvation. It may lead to a problem called starvation. Okay. So already we have discussed starvation. Starvation in the sense the jobs in the lower priority queue maybe keep on waiting and it may never get a chance, or it may have to wait for a very long period of time if there are more jobs in the higher priority queue. Okay. Assume that the system process queue is always full, then the jobs or the process in the student process will never be executed. Okay. So this problem is called a starvation, and starvation is created because this algorithm is less flexible. Okay. So that's it about multi-level queue scheduling algorithm. So what we have discussed here, in the sense, here the ready queue will be split into multiple queues, will be partitioned into multiple queues, and the jobs will be permanently assigned to any one of the queue based on the uh, memory required by the process, based on its priority level or process type. Okay. And 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 each of these queues may follow different scheduling algorithm. It is not that all the queues should follow the same scheduling algorithm. And also there will be scheduling within the queues. Okay, there will be scheduling within the queues. Okay, so there are two types. That is, one is first, the first method is first all the jobs in the higher priority jobs should be completed before executing any jobs or process in the lower priority queue. The second method is the operating system may allocate some time, that is 80% of time, it may say it will be allocated for the jobs in the higher priority or for the interactive process, and remaining 20% for the jobs in the batch process queue. And then we have discussed an example where the ready queue is split into 5 queues, and we have discussed how it works. The advantage of this particular model is it has very low scheduling overhead. In the sense, the operating there is no overhead for the operating system. The operating system just needs to identify what type of process it is, and it has to move to the appropriate queue. So the algorithm has very low scheduling overhead, but the disadvantage is it is not flexible. That is, the process cannot be moved from one queue to another queue, and this may lead to starvation. Okay, so let us stop here. Thank you.